Hi! Before I start the art journal page video, I'm just popping on to say I don't know whether some of you might be interested in this year-long class that I'm doing for Natalie May scrapbooking, where we do a lesson every month. Each lesson has its own separate Facebook private group where the lesson is streamed, and you get custom made stencil and collage paper designed by me specifically for each class as part of the amount that you pay for the class. We have already done one of the pages, obviously for January. I am planned up to March, and it's starting to look like going to be a really cool journal. So if that's something you're interested in, head over to Natalie May Scrapbooking and have a look under her classes and under guest teachers, and you can find my classes in there. Hello everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and in this one I'm playing with one of Natalie May's face stencils. This was one from a recent release. This one, as you can see, is called Susan, and I'm going to use the stencil to draw through to get the image onto my page. Stencils are great for this, and I often forget that I can draw through the stencil and merely use it for stenciling with paint. But this is a great way to get that image onto your page, and then you can alter it and use it in your own way. So I'm just carefully drawing through all of the parts of the face and then the hair as well, just so that I can get that basic shape down that I can then work with afterwards. Okay, so then I'm going to draw in using a Posca pen. I'm just going over the lines. This is really so that I can go in and add some paint over, and I'll still be able to see the lines through, so I can go and add them again after I've added some colour to the face. So there is method to my complete madness here. Sorry, balloons, honestly. I don't know why they keep coming. I keep thinking I've switched them off. I don't know whether it's... Oh, anyway, never mind. So these stencils are lovely. They're really easy to alter. Natalie released quite a few different faces. There's even one called Claire, which is really lovely. And a lot of them have got their eyes closed, but they're really easy to alter and make into faces with open eyes as well. I know that Neve Bailey has had a go at doing that too. You can sort of find those videos on her YouTube channel. Sorry, excuse me. So here I'm just adding a bit of apricot onto the face, and just to get a bit of colour onto the skin. Deliberately not really looking for proper skin tone colours. It's almost impossible, isn't it? So I grab whatever I can and kind of sometimes go in and add colours over the top. But I think just don't get too hung up on it. Face colours, skin tones. Yeah, it's one of those really difficult things, but apricot's not a bad base to start with. This is a Dina Wakley media paint, and you can see I'm just brushing it straight onto my page, so there's no gesso on my page or anything. I'm just going straight in with that first layer of colour, and although I've painted over those lines, you can see that they are still pretty visible, and worst case, you can pop the stencil back over the top anyway and stencil back in to see where those lines need to be. Sorry. So once that's dry, I'm then going in with a Neo Colour 2, similar to a scribble stick. It's just a stick of water-soluble pigment, and using a wet brush you can lift some of the pigment off, and I'm just pulling some of that onto the face in some of the places where the shadow would be. Then I've dried it, and then I'm going in again and just bringing a bit more shadow to the face, just to create a bit of depth. But you know, I'm not going to stress about this. I'm not going to panic and worry and think, oh no, it's not perfect. It doesn't matter. As I'm always saying, your art journal, it's yours. It's, you know, if you like it, that's good enough, isn't it? It's fine. So then I've just picked a slightly darker colour, and I'm just going in and adding a few more shadows, and it'll all come together when you start to draw those features back in again. At this moment in time, you're probably thinking, okay, that's interesting. But you'll see once those lines go back in, it will start to come back together again. So again, I'm just drawing over the lines, which I can still pretty much see through the colours on my page. And that face is starting to take a shape now. So that was a really simple process, actually. All I've used there is a bit of paint and then some scribble stick or Neocolour 2s, just to bring a little bit of colour to the face, and then adding a bit to the lips again. It starts to bring that face to life. Then I decided I would go with a lovely pinky coloured hair. This is Orchid. I definitely have got favourites of colours that I use a lot. I use Orchid an awful lot. I think it is one of my favourite sort of pinks with a hint of purple in it. It's just so lovely. And I'm pulling that over the hair. Yeah, so kind of like, this was a bit of a interesting that I've done this, because I have recently added like a pink tone to my hair and I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to pull that over, and you can see the lines are disappearing again, but it's super easy to bring those back in. As I said, you can pop your stencil back over, and I've here decided I don't want the flower. I'm going to paint over it, get rid of it. So I'm just bringing the hair over the top, and then I'll rub those lines out that are still peeking out at the side. But this is how you can take an image and you can alter it and make it your own. And it's not super difficult, really. So now I've got the same brush. I'm just going in with a bit of white, and I'm just going to pull a little bit of a lighter colour through the hair. Just doing some kind of movement lines, following the way that the hair would go. You can see I'm not going for realism here. I'm just playing, just adding some colours. And then I've grabbed blackberry, and these are the palette pastels from Jane Davenport. You always see me using these to pop a bit of blush on the cheeks. It's just a really gentle, soft way to get that colour. And then I obviously decided not to use the blackberry. I don't know whether I've gone in, not filmed that bit. I'm not sure. Maybe I have added some little lines of blackberry over the white bits, just to push those back a bit. So now I'm just using a black gel pen, and I'm just adding those lines back in over the hair, just to give a bit more definition to the area. So sometimes when I do a face like a page like this with a face on, I like to put the face on first and then make the background work around the face. So that's kind of where I'm starting here. So that means that I'm not then fighting with any background colour to get the face to work. So I've added some eyelashes. I'm going in with a Stabilo All Pencil and just bringing a little bit more shadow to some areas of the face. And you can see it does start to kind of pop the features out a little bit more. I'm not going to overdo it. I just want to, create a little bit of depth. When you watch people do faces who properly know what they're doing, you will see that when they put the shadows in, they are really, really dark. Yeah, I'm not so confident to do that, but I quite like this sort of softer look. And then I decided I would go in with a real fine liner and just add some kind of cross-hatching shading to the face as well, just to try and make those shadows a little darker. So it's a steady process of kind of building those layers on my face image. And then I wanted to add some more sort of wispy hairs around the face, just to make that a bit softer. Okay, so now onto the background. So this is turquoise, and I'm using a dry brush, and I'm just pulling that colour onto my page. And I'm liking that kind of painterly effect where you can see the brush strokes. I think that's a really nice way to start to put your paint onto your background. It gives it like a nice loose feel, really. And it's a great way to kind of make a start with that colour. And you can build out from there. It's one of those things, it's easy to start off with less and add more, but it's more difficult to take it away if you've gone too crazy and put too much colour on your background. So building it up gradually and sort of thinking, okay, do I want a bit more there? Do I need to pull it out this side? Is a good way to do it. So this is Peacock, I think, and it's a tone that works really nicely with turquoise. It's not really showing up on camera, but it is just a slightly darker tone than the turquoise, and they work really nicely together. This is a stencil from Natalie May that I'm just using. I'm using some of the same colour, Peacock, and just pulling that over the rest of the colours in the background. So starting to bring a bit more pattern to my page as well. So this is a stencil from Natalie May. I think this one's called Flower Power. And here I'm just going to try and add some flowers onto my page that I can go in and, you know, doodle on and add some details to. So I am using lots of different purples and pinks and blues here to start to build these flowers, and then I'm going to draw over them and pull those details out. So this is just an ordinary gel pen. It's quite a fine line one. I'm not going to be adding any more wet media onto this page, so it isn't waterproof, but that it will work to do this job, because I know that I'm not going to be bringing any water on here that's going to make the pen run. So these are the flowers that are also on the bottom of the Susan stencil. So these face stencils are really lovely because each one has got like a little collection of extra stencil details at the bottom that you can use to build up this kind of page with. And of course you can mix and match the stencils, so there's nothing to say that you have to use this pattern with the Susan stencil. You could use a different one. But this was a really nice way to sort of add to that flower detail. So then I'm just going in and adding some white dots around these flowers using a Posca pen. This is a bit of a thing that I've got at the moment. These white dots seem to appear on quite a few of my pages. As you know, dots are something that I do love to use. And then I decided I would grab some coloured Posca pens in the different kind of shades and tones that would work with my page. And I'm going to add some dots on using those as well. So the effect of this is to just kind of, it softens those areas. It creates a little bit more interest, more detail. And then those white splatters, they just end up looking like lots of teeny tiny little flowers as well. So yeah, lots of little techniques that I often use to create these layers. So now I'm just going to add some stamping onto my page. So this is a text stamp from Natalie May. Scrapbooking, I've also added some black dots as well. So again, just building up the layers on these little areas that I've created just to make them look really detailed. And they're all just like little bits that I've done. I haven't spent hours creating these, but it kind of gives the effect that there's a lot of detail going on, and it is just these little touches. So then I've stamped some circles onto there as well. And then I'm going to add a quote to the page. And I'm using some Art by Marlene glue to stick that in. And that really, apart from then outlining those quote words using a black pen, just to draw a little bit more attention to them, is this page finished. So lots and lots of fun using face stencils, and I love to use faces in my journal pages. I think they're just such a great way to create a great journal page. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again soon.